Hey everyone, and welcome to today's video. In the previous video in the series, we watched Khan as he played Vladimir in the early game against Aurelia. In just the laning phase, Khan was able to pull ahead with consistent freezing in front of his turret and excellent use of Vladimir's pool. However, Khan's team is still in a rough spot. As we look towards the mid game, the other lanes on the map are down in gold and XP, while his jungler is roughly even with Trundle. With the bot turret getting lower and lower, there will soon be a lot of attention on Khan. In this video, we'll be talking about how Khan handles this pressure and carries despite the enemy bot lane rotating up. With that said, let's hop right into the game. It's just 11 minutes into the game, and he's just won a awesome 1v1 against Aurelia. It's time for him to now push into the enemy turret while Aurelia is down, and get as much turret pressure as possible while soaking up these waves. Whenever you kill your opposing laner, there's going to be around 30 seconds of walking that they have to do after their death timer, and Khan backs off at this point knowing that Aurelia will be soon back in the lane. After his reset, it's an easy choice to head straight back to top lane. Aurelia has just cleared a wave into his turret here, but she is now backed off without vision. Aurelia has been doing this a few times this game, where she backs off and comes back into lane a few moments later. A lot of strong players do this because it threatens roams down into the mid lane or a teleport down into bot lane or at a river fight. Khan plays his reaction to her moving out of lane pretty calmly. Because he doesn't know where Trundle is, as well as the location of Aurelia, he freezes it in the middle here temporarily. Even though he can fight her 1v1 at this point, it's going to be tricky if Trundle comes into the mix. After getting his ward into the river, Khan does his due diligence by mass MIA pinging Aurelia until she comes back into lane a few moments later. As Aurelia steps forward aggressively to trade, we can see that this lane is pretty much over. Here, she tries to engage with a fight onto Khan after he's burnt his Q, with his E still on cooldown. This would be a pretty strong idea if she wasn't already wildly behind in XP. And even though it seemed pretty good, Khan was saving both his W and flash in case of her ultimate or stun. This fight by Aurelia seems really reminiscent of assassin players who just don't know when to stop going in. At this point, Aurelia is going to be better served if she tried to leverage a different position on the map, since her lane is already completely lost. There's another window here where Khan can push freely while Aurelia is off the map. Unfortunately, Trundle is doing a good job covering for top, and Vladimir really struggles against him in the 1v1. In this position, the worst thing that Khan can do is die to Trundle, so he flashes out. However, to make matters worse, Aurelia has now followed our idea of heading elsewhere on the map, and she's teleported into bot lane. Down in bot lane, she's able to pick up 2 kills and an assist on the third, which will springboard her back to even gold. With the fight down in bot already over, Khan just needs to make sure that the top side of the map doesn't collapse as well. With Trundle's ultimate down from earlier, there's nothing he can do to stop the fed Vladimir from earlier, and he knows that he has to back off. Khan now isn't too sure yet how the lanes are going to shuffle out, since Aurelia, Kog'Maw, and Thresh are all recalled from bottom lane. He decides to go get vision in the river, as well as the enemy jungle. This is a pretty safe path to go for, since the topside jungle was cleared earlier, while Trundle was babysitting the top lane while Aurelia fought bot, so the worst that could happen is that he runs into an enemy roaming Thresh. And now, with Karma extended like this, there's actually a perfect opportunity to go for a gank. However, Khan needs to pull the trigger on this immediately, since Aurelia has just killed the wave up top and another will be hitting the turret shortly. We also want to point out that if Karma was closer to her turret, Khan wouldn't go for this play because he has no idea where the most of the enemy team is. Anyway, the engage is looking great, but unfortunately, Thresh is here just in time to save Karma. However, there's an unseen benefit with this aggressive move from Khan because Shen and Ezreal are able to 2v1 dive the lowling Kog'Maw at his turret while also taking the turret itself. Basically, a lot of things are happening down bottom lane, which is exactly what you want to see in Khan's position because he's up 2 levels over Aurelia with all of the solo experience that he's gotten. Khan quickly sustains up his health, and now Aurelia has to deal with this monster of a Vladimir whose ultimate will be up in 30 seconds. In this situation with Kha'Zix and Malzahar in the area, all Khan has to do is maintain pressure on Aurelia and use his pool appropriately to outplay her key abilities. Anyway, before the next wave comes into the turret, Kha'Zix goes straight for the fight on Aurelia. Seeing Kog'Maw at the corner of the screen, Khan rushes in to support Kha'Zix and immediately drop Aurelia. Shortly after, they trade Kog'Maw for Kha'Zix for a 1v2 trade. After every fight like this, you want to immediately move your character away from any fog nearby and start heavily looking at the minimap. In the end, however, there's little to worry about, and it looks like the red team is out of gas for this play. There's a couple flashes burned and time wasted before Khan recalls for his Shurelya's and heads down bot. As we take a look at the gold, the teams are dead even. In Khan's situation, it's hard to really figure out what to do. Ultimately, you can do one of two things. You can either split or group. If you're going to split, you want to have teleport to help your team. But because Khan is playing against Trundle and Aurelia, he's going to go down to both of them collapsing easily, which means that he's better off grouping. And in that case, he'll go Ghost, where his plan will be to shove waves and then group up with his team. You have enough health that you won't die unless you overcommit to a fight, and with that in mind, the goal here is to keep the side lanes from pressuring your team around the map, while also keeping a close eye on the minimap to spot any team fights happening ahead of time. Because we aren't running teleport in this situation, we have to be hyper aware of what's happening on the map and where the tension is starting to occur. This is where a lot of people run into issues differentiating between split pushing and pushing to group, because in these situations they will either over or understay in the side lanes and then find poor results because of it. As we see Khan move towards the bottom lane yet again, he's constantly looking over in mid lane and pre-rotating while he moves his camera to see if his team is going to fully commit to the fight. The big difference to watch out in your own games is that lower elo players will be spending less time watching out and playing around your positioning on the map, so there will be less dancing around on both sides and there will be faster teamfights. The way Khan moves here really differentiates his play even further. His goal isn't to kill the bottom tier turret. Instead, it's preventative. He wants to prevent his team from losing XP and prevent his team from losing gold down bot, while also prevent large waves from applying pressure to his team. Whenever he clears out the wave, there will be about 20 to 25 seconds where he can move around and then get something done. In this case, he's moved into the red team's bottom side jungle where he's preparing a flank on Kog'Maw and Thresh. On one side, the red team should be pinging that he's MIA and that there is a potential collapse happening, but that's the great thing about play like this. Whenever you can set a situation where the enemy team has to make the right counterplay or be punished for it, you should. As his ghost gets popped, we can see that the blue team's patience has paid off as they go for a triangle flank. The in vogue build on Vladimir is to itemize into Shurelya's as a second or third core item because of how devastating the flank is when you're able to combine it with Ghost. Let's see how this goes. Instantly, Khan takes out the most fed target in Kog'Maw, finishes off Thresh due to Aurelia being suppressed in the middle of his team as well. Then he ends Aurelia before eventually chasing down Trundle and Karma. At this point, it's time to back off, clear the wave, and reset before setting up for Baron. They'll win grouped up fights as long as Khan is able to get a flank, and his ability to get these flanks depends largely on his summoner spells. As he pushes bot here, he pings for his team to play carefully and recessed, while the enemy team tries to counter with a death ball as a 5-man. In lower elos, it's going to be harder to prevent your teammates from being, well, stupid, so we recommend leaving bot the second that you clear out the wave in the middle of the lane. Khan, on the other hand, can rely on his Korean challenger teammates a little bit more to be more careful, but the fight is still about to start, so he makes the same path into the enemy blue side jungle. The big advantage of going for a flank like this is that it's less likely for the enemy team to prepare wards for it. As they move up into the lane, most people don't think to ward until they get to the objective they want to kill, such as this mid turret right here. Enough about that though, let's see how Khan plays this flank. Khan pops Ghost, pops Shurelya's, and lands a, wow, a count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-man ultimate on the enemy team. Coming from a flank made this way easier, and now he's going to destroy their whole team for a clean ace before they all decide to go to Baron. In fact, that ultimate was so good it was game ending, and the enemy team gave up completely. Khan started this mid-game with a very relatable situation for many strong mechanical top laners. You're up in gold, you're up in XP, but your team is behind. It feels like everything is collapsing around you and it's hard to know what to do. Khan leveraged his existing advantage by continuing to get solo XP and winning out against Aurelia. Once he killed his turret, he went down to bot side and cleared waves until he had flank opportunities. The big thing Khan knew about his situation as Vladimir is that he would continue to scale up and be a teamfight threat. As he moved out of laning phase, he itemized with that in mind by going into Shurelya's, which then allowed him to crush 2 key teamfights in order to propel his team into a victory. If you love these videos and you want to see more, come check us out at skill-capped.com. Thank you so much for watching.